you know, one of the interesting things for me as a viewer watching Austin City Limits over the years is those theme shows that you would come up with, songwriter shows, tributes to certain performers. How did those concepts come about? How did you get into that kind of thing?
Well, the original Songwriters concept, there is our tribute to Townes Van Zandt, and what a lineup of singer-songwriters there. That was a great show. And Townes himself had done the show before then. But the idea of doing the Songwriters in the Round show came from a tradition that the former UT football coach Darrell Royal started in his living room, where he had Willie and a bunch of country singer and songwriters from Texas and from Nashville just gather around for these pickin' sessions at his house. And so we kind of stole that idea, put it on our stage, turned on our cameras, and we actually had Willie come and do a few of those, and we had, was it 2 or 3 different women songwriters in the round, because it was kind of rare back in those days, especially to give them the time that they deserved to showcase their own songs. And we did probably a dozen of those over the years. For interesting reasons, it's not as easy to pull those singer-songwriter shows together as it used to be. Maybe it's a testament to our success, but most artists would rather just do a show on their own, as opposed to, even though they may love their fellow singer-songwriters, do a show with a group of people other than to have the stage all to themselves.
Yeah, so, Coach called them guitar pulls.
Guitar pulls.
Because you'd be playing, and then the guy next to you would just yank the guitar out of your hand. It's my turn. Yeah, but I still do this because, and Robert, and y'all know, doing a solo show, okay, you get booked and they say, okay, for whatever reason, either it's a benefit or maybe it's a gig or maybe whatever, there's an audience and they're talking and drinking and making noise, and you're trying to sit here with just an acoustic guitar and you're going, oh shit, this is, and Coach had this thing where he said, here's the rule. When they're playing, you be quiet. You want to talk? Leave the room. And Coach would stand up there, and say, I did it the other day. It was at some art museum, and it was a benefit for, and they're talking, and I said, hold on, the Coach Royal rule. And in Texas, it'd be, he's like the king, and they said, this is where it's at, and you explain them, and you call them out on it. Coach would come out and say, not shut up, but you're talking, because the Coach had reverence for not only music, but for words. And to him, words were everything. His famous line when they asked him if he was going to do something, he says, we're going to dance with what brung us, And he just had a way with words, and he was so instrumental in Austin City Limits doing that.